listeners. You're tuned in to Cosmos and Commerce, where business meets a touch of sparkle. I'm Michelle, your host for all things entrepreneurial and entertaining.
And I'm Janis, your other host, making sure to keep things light and lively. Today's episode is going to be a blast, isn't it, Michelle?
Absolutely, Janis. This episode, we're uncovering the secrets behind successful restaurant and bar bookkeeping with an expert in the field, Jennifer Beckwith, owner of Wayside Bookkeeping. She's made quite a niche for herself in this area.
I'm already thinking about all the numbers and spreadsheets. But first, Michelle, would you rather keep the books for a bustling bar in Vegas or a quaint cafe in Paris?
Definitely the Vegas bar, and I'm actually going there next week.
Oh,
The energy and the energy and excitement is right up my alley. What about you, Janis?
I think a cafe in Paris. The ambiance would be unbeatable. But enough about us. Let's get to the real star of the show. Stay tuned, folks, because Jennifer's story is one you won't want to miss.
That's right. Grab your drink and get ready for some inspiring insights and a whole lot of fun. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Welcome.
Thanks, Michelle and Janis. Appreciate you guys for having me on here. And such a great introduction. I don't know what I would want to do if it would be a bar in Vegas or in Paris. I don't know.
On the beach.
Maybe both. Right?
Yes.
So, Jennifer, let's start with a little bit of background on you. Wayside Bookkeeping is renowned for its specialization in restaurant and bar bookkeeping. Can you tell us what inspired you to focus on this area?
I like to eat. That's really the honesty behind it, as I really enjoy food and really enjoy going out and spending time learning about different restaurants. And the other thing with it is that it's very, very specific and detailed. You know, most bookkeeping is detailed, but restaurant is a little bit more detailed on a daily basis. So I kind of like the nitty gritty of it.
Would you share a summary of your business journey from the idea and your backgrounds in bookkeeping to being a go-to expert in this field?
Yeah, so I actually started because I was bored as a soon-to-be empty nester, still on that path. I've always dealt in an office kind of environment, whether it be customer service, dabbled a little bit with bookkeeping, but not a ton. And so I decided I was going to just do a side job to pick up some extra income. And so I went for it and started my own business in 2020, and it's kind of grown. I think I left my full-time job in February of 23 and now have 7 employees besides myself and continuing to grow. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's kind of been a journey.
Yeah. So what did you do before you were owning Wayside? What was your job?
Well, I worked for a construction refrigeration company and took care of all the in-house paperwork there, along with dispatching, quoting, all that fun, lovely stuff. So it was really just boring work is the best way I could put it. And I was helping someone else make millions of dollars, and I don't like helping other people make millions of dollars unless it's my clients.
So did you have any experience in bookkeeping, or did you learn like a whole new field?
Just a little bit, but not a ton. So I went through and did a lot of training, a lot of schooling in that first 60, 90 days, and really just buckled down. So I would, get off at 5, come home from 7 to 10 was usually when I was working on my business and learning all the ins and outs of bookkeeping. Got certified in QuickBooks, the regular certification and advanced. So kind of just developed that way and really just threw myself into it. So I had all the knowledge that I could.
Sorry, I'm going way off script, but I have a lot of questions now.
You're fine.
So you just decided to do this side hustle and you picked bookkeeping? Why did you pick bookkeeping? That's what I want to know.
Well, because someone kind of advertised it that it was a lot of like data entry, and since the age of 15, I worked at call centers where I was just inputting data.
Oh,
So for me, it was like, well, that seems like a perfect match, right? It's a lot of input, a lot of outputting data. So it really seemed like, and I think that's why I was able to catch on so easily because of the years of experience doing that kind of stuff. But they don't tell you about teaching yourself or educating yourself on the accounting aspect of it all. They just teach you about the data entry part. So it's up to you to learn the accounting part to where you understand it. But
Hmm.
that's what they did not advertise for.
Yeah.
you're learning that along the way, huh?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's just a lot of trial and error. Excuse me.
Yeah. I saw on your website that your tagline is that you help your restaurant or bar grow. Tell me, how exactly do you help them grow?
Well, when you look at your reports, well, as business owners, do you look at your reports for one? Do you have reports for two? But then do you know how to really look at them and understand, just because you have money in the bank account doesn't mean that you are doing okay. And I think that's where a lot of business owners falter is they think if their bank account looks good, they're doing well. But what they're not anticipating is those big invoices that are coming from their vendors, payroll, all of that other stuff that you don't consider when you're looking at that bank account. But something that's specific to the restaurant industry is they have prime cost. So, there's a certain percentage that they should be trying to stay under for their cost of goods versus what's being sold, along with their labor cost of goods. So that's really getting into the nitty gritty and the specifics with the restaurants and actually leveling up their bookkeeping versus just data in and data out. It's how to analyze the data.
I
Hmm.
see. Yeah, that would be helpful making
Yeah.
decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are some of the biggest challenges you've encountered while working specifically with restaurants and bars?
Well, they're not the easiest. They're so busy because usually they are in the restaurant that they're not the easiest to get you the information and answer the questions that you need. I think that's one of the biggest hurdles, but also where to connect and network with those restaurant owners. Because they're usually in the restaurant, they usually don't go and do a lot of networking and that kind of thing. So, how can you go out and reach them? So it's really building that network of in the industry, building that network of people that you can work with.
So that's why you go out to eat. So you can like hand them your card. Is it over here?
Exactly. So a lot of
Yeah.
times, especially if I'm out of town, I will leave my business card, you know, at with my receipt after I've paid. So
I've got one of your cards. I don't have it right here in front of me. Does it say on there like I specialize
it
in
does
bar?
not. I haven't had new
Yeah.
ones made. Those are the
Yeah.
first ones I had before I really got into the restaurant and bars. So yeah, so that's on
But you
my
don't want to
to-do list.
alienate any other businesses who may want to use your services.
Correct, because we do
Yeah.
service all industries at this point, but
Yeah.
we're just our niche where we specialize and know the most information is in the restaurant industries.
Hmm.
You'd probably be good with food trucks too, right? Would that be considered restaurant?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much anything in the food industry because most of them have a point of sale system where they need to make sure that they account for those fees, they gross up their sales, all that fun stuff. That's
I
fun
bet
for me, not for you
keeping
guys.
track of tips. I bet keeping track of tips might be difficult for them.
Yes, tips and sales tax are usually the biggest issue when it comes to their industry, 100%.
Well, restaurants, I mean, do they even pay sales tax?
Mhm.
Because on food, there's no sales tax on, dining in or I don't know. How does that
Yeah,
work?
the point of sale system calculates it all for you, just like your point of sale system will do for whatever different things you sell.
Yeah.
Their point of sales do the same thing.
Oh, yeah. They just pop it in. I pop it in as non-revenue or not non-revenue, non-taxable or yeah,
Correct.
whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's how their point of sale is set up through
Set up.
whatever is bought is taxable or not.
Yeah.
This brings up a big point of contention that I have a big opinion about in my industry. We can talk about it. Maybe you can set me straight if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But tips, I think, are a bunch of BS actually for the business, because we have to, as a business, we have to facilitate that tip, but we have to pay the credit card fees on that tip out of our pocket, and we have to pay the
Yeah.
tax on that tip out of our pocket, where the person gets the 100% of the tip.
Yeah.
Am I right or am I wrong?
You're 100% accurate.
Ah!
Michele, can you put in your contract that like a percentage of their tip goes to the fees if they put it on a card and you have to process it? I wonder
Well,
if you could do
we've
that.
done something different with tipping lately that I don't think would be feasible for restaurants, but we have like a separate point of sale iPad
Mm-hmm.
where it's
Mm-hmm.
called Meet Tippy. So there's an app on this iPad that all of our therapists are loaded up in. And we don't charge a convenience fee or credit card fee or whatever on the sale to the customer. But if they want a tip on their credit card, we charge them a little fee so that
Yeah.
they are now paying. And
Your
then,
fee.
yeah, our credit
Yeah.
card fee, but we still have to pay the tax on that.
Right.
But the goal is that maybe since they're having to pay the fee, they'll just go ahead and bring cash the next time.
But when you say you're paying taxes on it, do you mean you're paying sales tax or are you paying
No,
payroll tax? Technically, you shouldn't be paying payroll tax on tips.
no, this is what I wanted to
No.
hear from you.
No, technically you should not be paying because tips are just an in and out. You're just a holding company. Like you're just holding them. You should not be paying taxes on tips.
Okay,
Mm.
so
It's
we
only on their
aren't
salary.
responsible. Okay, we aren't responsible for federal taxes on that income that they're making.
Should not be, no. Because
Okay,
it
I'm going to
should
make
not
sure that we're not.
because it is not an expense to you, it's a liability. So make sure that
Okay,
it is not listed as an expense on your profit and loss. It's
Mm.
listed as a liability. Because really you're
okay,
just holding that money for a period of time until you disperse it out, just like sales tax.
that is good to know. Kyron does our books, so I'm going to have to make sure. Maybe we can have you a consult with you sometime so you can make sure we're doing things right.
Sounds
No
like it would be
problem.
a good idea. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, what unique aspects of restaurant and bar bookkeeping do you find most intriguing?
To be honest with you, there's so many point of sale systems and everyone I don't know why my voice just changed. But everyone did you see that? Like it went really high. But really the point of sale systems, there's so many different ones that every restaurant uses and they all use them so differently that I think that is the most unique aspect of and I know there's a lot of different point of sale systems for all businesses, but for restaurants specifically there's a ton and either you love or hate them, and to change is very costly when
Mm-hmm.
they change a point of sale system or a merchant service. So all of that is, but you have to educate yourself. And that's what I enjoy is learning different point of sale systems, learning different the way some businesses use it where some do not, and then asking those educated questions to the owner, are you using it this way? And they're like, I didn't know I could do that. Well, guess what?
I was just going to say that, yeah, because I've got the Clover system where at my shop here, and I know I don't utilize it to its full extent. I know I don't. And they cater, I think that mostly to restaurants, but I've tweaked it to work for me. But I know that there's so many things that it can do that I don't use it for.
Yeah, we'll definitely need to follow up because like I don't know if you use the cash option where you can track your cash on there, which is a big feature with Clover, but a lot of the
You
point
mean
of
when
sales,
somebody pays cash?
not necessarily if someone pays cash, but say you take $20 out of your drawer and you send Michelle down the street to go get some waters because it's 95 degrees and you want your customers to have water, right? So you took cash out of the drawer. It'll track, you can put it in Clover that way and it tracks it for you. So say
Oh,
you had $100 cash today, but you spent $20 on those waters. Now you have $80. Where did that other, so it's accounting for it.
I see. So
Yeah,
can you walk us through the different services you offer to your clients?
So currently for bookkeeping clients, I will do payroll for them, but I am not doing payroll outside of if you're not a bookkeeping client. I used to do payroll just by itself. It got to be too big, too much, but I will do it for my clients. But really, bookkeeping, accounts payable and accounts receivable, and sales tax filing and payroll. And then I actually work with a enrolled agent, which is a tax preparer that I refer all my tax clients to.
Mm.
But I do not do taxes. I don't want to
Yeah.
get in that mess.
I don't blame you.
Too much responsibility there.
Yeah, it is. It is. Can you share a particularly memorable experience you've had working with a client and what made it so special?
So at the beginning of June, I flew out to Phoenix to meet with one of my restaurant clients. And it was definitely a weird experience, but a good one, like to actually meet, someone that you've been working with for over a year, but
Yeah.
never been on a Zoom call. It's always just been phone calls, but spent 3 days with them. It was awesome to be in the restaurant and kind of see how the restaurant works, but also put
Yeah.
some names with faces of the people that you run payroll for, that you're tracking those tips for. So
How
that
did
was
they find you, or how did you find them in Phoenix with you being here?
So someone they knew was trying to help them with their books, and she must have on Facebook just posted something about, I don't know, Googled QuickBooks or something, and she found my name on someone else's post. Yeah, so she reached out to me. She wanted me to kind of help train her. And unfortunately, she has since passed. And when she contacted me, she was terminally ill. So
Aw.
I told her I would train her for free as long as when they were ready for a bookkeeper, that she recommended me. So I've been their bookkeeper ever since. So,
Aw.
yeah. So it's a sad story, but it's, a heartwarming story as well, because it was almost like it was kind of meant to be honest with you, because the way it happened was not the typical way things happen. But he is one of my best clients and is getting ready to open a second restaurant and expand his first one. And
Nice.
when I was in Phoenix, I met another owner that I will be taking on at the beginning of August. So it was,
Nice.
yeah. So
I
like I
love
said,
it.
it
So
kind
you
of
can
it's
really
one of,
take clients. You can take clients anywhere in the United States, huh?
yes, I actually have Florida, North Carolina, Kentucky, Colorado, Phoenix, or Arizona. Just talked to someone in Nashville and just talked to someone in Washington State.
I love
So
Sound
it.
like fun trips. I like
I, I,
Yes.
I decide I'm going to do 50. I want 50, one in every state,
One in
including
every state.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can just make a
I
road
love
trip
it.
out of it. Once a month, I'll
I
just go
love
someplace
it.
else.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Right. And it's all tax deductible.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
That's very strategic there.
Yes.
So, what marketing strategies have been the most effective for you to grow your business?
Networking.
Yeah, even though it's
Um,
hard to find where to go for, like, have you found the best networking?
Well, so it's all in how you perceive networking, right? It's not necessarily that the restaurant owners aren't going to be at the places I go to on an average day. They're not going to be at the BNIs. They're not going to be at the Connected or the Chambers. Like they don't have time for that,
Hmm.
but their friends do, and people
Yep.
that work with them do. So really it's just about building relationships with people, and I know that a lot of networking environments are like, oh, pass your network or pass your business card and let's talk about your business. I'm not a big fan of that approach. I'm more, let's get to know you. Let's kind of, let's build some trust before, especially when you're dealing with people's financials. It's very important to build that trust. And if you don't build that trust by networking and really getting to know somebody, then it's not going to last long.
Yeah. about building relationships.
100%.
How many
Yeah.
more clients do you need for you to be too busy for networking?
Oh, you just hit a big question that I've been asking myself a lot lately.
You're
Right
gonna have to
now,
hire more to be able to do it.
yes, right now I am not networking more. I'm just using it a little bit more, making more valuable connections. So I'm staying where, I'm currently at with the networking. And I have three major, like BNI, four, the chamber, connected, and truth at work. So those are my four, and I'm not adding any more because that's enough meetings in a month.
Yes.
But I'm also not necessarily signing up for a lot of the extra, like with the chamber, just because I'm not finding the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the month of July and August are super, super busy with onboarding some new clients. So I'm not like social media marketing at this point. Kind of taking a break from that as well. Maybe a post here and there just so I can stay active. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. At some point, we have to figure out how much work I can take and how much I can't. And because I want to make sure the level of service doesn't decline.
Yeah. I think of marketing or networking clients as like a full sink, like with a slow leak. Some because you got to keep the sink full, but some are going to drip out. So
Yeah.
you got to keep replenishing
That's a
it.
good analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
What role does the local community play in your business?
The biggest role that it's really played is, I know this is going to sound kind of cheesy, but it's really helped me kind of grow my business and on the social media side of things. So when someone puts in looking for a bookkeeper,
Mm-hmm.
like I got one client because she said 7 people recommended me on a Facebook group when she was asking for a bookkeeper. So really that's how the community has helped me. Now I
Mm-hmm.
try to give back by doing sponsoring some holes for some charities, being part of the chamber, really trying to volunteer for some of those things when I can.
Those are
Really
good
good.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever collaborated with another local business?
So when I first started with BNI, I collaborated with the enrolled agent, and currently we have 18 clients
Oh,
that
wow.
we've referred back and forth between each other. But it's that trusting relationship that I know I can say, here's my client's reports for the year and mid-year. He does both year and mid-year and gets them the information, helps them set up payroll if they're switching from an LLC to an S corp, helps me set that up to make sure that we are all in compliance and that they are getting paid what the IRS considers a reasonable amount.
Jen, where do you see Wayside in 5 years?
Well, hopefully at that in 5 years that we have enough clients that I have a full staff and a full head bookkeeper slash accountant, and that I am overseeing it from a beach somewhere.
I like that plan.
I still will obviously I want to be the face of the business. I don't
Mhm.
necessarily want to be in the nitty-gritty of doing the bookkeeping, but I want to be able to train everybody that works for me the way I would like it to be done. So that's a huge goal for us.
Yeah. That's great.
Are there any new services or features that you plan to introduce?
I want to partner with, and I'm in talks with a friend of mine to partner with offering CFO services. So more of the analysis of those reports, right? Breaking it down to the nitty gritty and giving you very detailed information. So, Janice, if you think you need, you're like, oh man, I'm thinking of expanding. I'm just using this as an example, giving you that analysis where you can really make that informed decision.
Mhm.
More of the CFO kind of services and really breaking down that data for you.
Okay.
Awesome.
What advice would you give to someone looking to specialize in a niche market like restaurant and bar bookkeeping?
That's easy to say. I think the biggest thing is learning to understand the biggest pain points that restaurant owners have. right? We all know they have high labor cost, they have
Mhm.
high cost of goods, but
Yeah.
very little profit margin because us as consumers don't like to pay any more than we feel like we should. So, getting to understand all of that and how it all kind of works together and being able to find some systems that'll help you with reporting on that. I just did an analysis of one of my clients, and I was like, you know, that you haven't raised prices in 2 years.
Mm.
You're losing money right now, right? So, you know, I'll just give this example. So, like, the cost of wings went up by $2 a pound. That's huge if you don't raise
Yes.
your price of wings. So,
Yeah.
really knowing and understanding that kind of stuff is what a good restaurant bookkeeper will be able to do for you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then when you go to raise prices, you're going to have to raise them so much that it's going to be really noticeable. Whereas if
Yeah.
you did it like the first year, you did 25 cents, second year, 50, it
Yep.
wouldn't be so noticeable. Yeah.
Right. So now you're going to have to plan for a gradual, but it's going to be a fast gradual versus, you know, over a year. Now you're talking probably every 3 months you should increase your prices, which means new menus.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is another expense.
Exactly.
Whole new menus. But some restaurants should do that anyway to, keep it fresh and different and new
Yeah.
instead of having the same old things all the time, I guess.
Yeah.
Of
And
course,
if
they
you
all have
notice,
to
a
keep
lot of
the
restaurants,
favorites.
yeah, a lot of the restaurants went to the paper menus because it's a lot more affordable. And when they do
Yeah.
raise prices, it's a lot easier just to have, you know, to pay someone to print them versus going and, you know, having these really fancy ones made up again. So,
Yeah.
See, a
Or
lot
the
of restaurants, you go in and there's a QR code now and don't even hand out unless you request it. Like,
yeah,
can I see an actual piece of paper?
yes.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any words of wisdom for someone looking to streamline their bookkeeping business or processes? I mean,
Make sure that you have, if even if you don't want to hire a bookkeeper, make sure you speak with a bookkeeper to help you streamline those processes and give you, you know, even if you have to pay a consultation fee for it, it's going to benefit you in the long run.
Mm.
yeah.
But 100% get with someone that is professional, that knows what they're doing, even if you want to do it yourself, but get with those people. You're not going to go to a mechanic and say, hey, for some reason, this isn't working. Oh, okay, well, it's this. Can you show me how to do it? They're not going to show you how to do it. They're just going to want you to do it, right? But in the industry, it's very common to just have a bookkeeper go over your processes with you so they can
Mm.
guide you on the right path so that your books aren't a mess when you go to file your taxes, and your CPA will thank you. Just as an FYI.
You just don't walk in with a box full of receipts.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
How do you manage everything? Do you have any tips on efficiency and organization? Any
So
apps
you're
you
going to
use?
probably really laugh at me, right? So there's all these task management systems, right? There's all these great things that people tell you to spend money on, and they're going to help keep you organized. I just use my Google Calendar, and I actually have a planner that is only a 6 month planner, but I write everything in my planner. But if I write it, it seems to stick in my mind more than if I put it on the computer.
Yes.
So I still do my to-do list the same way. I write it out at the end of every day for the next day. But once again, it's because if I see it, I'll remember that I have to do it. So even if I'm not looking at that to-do list, I still know I have to get it done. But
I
not
kind of live
sure
by that
every,
as well.
yeah, I'm not sure everyone
I've
would
got a
think that was a
paper calendar.
great tip for organization, but for me, it's what's worked.
Yeah. I like my paper calendar, but I was late. What did I miss, Michelle? And you're like, well, if you used your Google, it would give you a reminder. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. You're right. So,
So I do a little
There
bit.
is,
I use both. I do like my Google Calendar because a reminder will pop up, and I'm like, oh, I completely forgot about that. So I do use both the Google and my Apple Calendar and my, but
in your
my
planner.
My planner is, but it's also a goal planner, right? So I can see my goals every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another
So how do
bonus
you
for the wait, I'm going to tell you another bonus for the online calendar, Janice.
Okay. Okay.
Wait, you always have it. You have your phone with you all the time because sometimes you're like, well, I don't have my planner right here, so I can't schedule it.
That's true.
That is true, but I don't put my important stuff like that on my planner. So my
You put it
planner
in
is,
Google
yeah, most of my important stuff like meetings and that stuff are in Google. But my planner is to help me keep organized with payroll,
list.
my
Mm.
to-do list. I also mentor other bookkeepers, so I have a schedule for that.
Yeah, I keep my planner out beside me like all
Mhm.
night long, like on the couch. So I'm just sitting there looking like this is why I have to do this tomorrow. So don't stay up and binge watch TV all night long. You got to do this, because I
I
do
don't
that
know,
sometimes.
Janice, I don't know why I could visualize that.
That's
It's
so
right
cool.
there tomorrow, and I'm like, let me see, I'm doing this. Or if I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have anything written down. What am I missing? And he's like,
Mhm.
don't pick up your phone. Don't answer the phone. If you want a day off, don't answer your phone. So, Jen, how do you ensure a great experience for your clients from start to finish?
Well, remember how we were talking about building those trusting relationships?
Mm,
So, as a bookkeeper, you really have people's banking information, right? You get the nitty gritty, you get their credit card information. It's a lot of personal information. So I make sure that all of that is very secure from the very beginning, which helps build that trust when we were talking about building the trust. But I also, if you ask my clients, none of them even really know that there's 7 employees that work for me because I am who they communicate with. I am the go-to person. I am the one that sends everything to them. No one's ever asked me, but I always try to make my clients feel like they're my only client. So if
that's
that
nice.
means answering the phone when it's 7 o'clock for me, but 4 o'clock for a client, then it means answering the phone. So it's being available, it's being flexible, it's being patient. Especially in the restaurant industry, they don't have a lot of time. So
Mhm.
when you're asking for information and you're really demanding with it, it makes them not trust you and builds that kind of hurts that relationship. So, but from the beginning, we have a very outlined process of the information we need, how to get me the information we need. And then, we usually, most clients' books don't come to us in good standings. Most of the time, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the back end to get their books good. So, usually, to be honest with you, most business owners really don't care. They just want to know that you're doing it and that they don't have to. But I work very close with the owners and the information that they provide me and to make sure that they get the reports every month. You'd be surprised how many people pay for a bookkeeper, but they've never seen a profit and loss report.
I've got a follow up question on like your employees. You've got 7 employees. Do you do like background checks on them? Like if, or are you the only one that looks at the personal bank account numbers and things like that?
So I don't do background checks, and I'll give you some history. One of the biggest accomplishments I feel like I've had in the business is so I have 3 young, just graduated high school employees that work for me, and they are all going into the accounting field in college. They all
Oh,
took accounting in high school, which was a requirement to work for me, and they've all been certified with QuickBooks, but they don't see the information. That is like I go and get all the bank statements, I go and get
mhm.
all the information. So I protect all that information for my clients. They don't have access to that. I'm
Yeah,
the only one that will do that.
good. What have you enjoyed the most about focusing on restaurant and bar bookkeeping?
The restaurant industry, those people are fun. I have to
Mm.
say, because usually they are at the restaurant. Usually they're enjoying themselves at the restaurant. Like when I went to Phoenix, they had the best steak I've ever had. Let me just say,
Oh,
the best steak I have ever had. But, they're just truly, they're just good-hearted, hardworking people that are just trying to make a living. And if anyone ever tells you that restaurant owners make a lot of money, they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
That always floors me. Like, oh, if you own a restaurant, you make a ton of money. No, 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 not really. But really, I
That's a
just,
myth
I
for a lot
like,
of it's a
yeah,
myth for a lot of business owners. You own a
it
business, you probably make
is.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and how many times, hey, do you want to sponsor this? You want to sponsor that? I know you're making money. Yeah, I am, but not enough. It's never enough.
I
You're,
won't be making
you
any
know,
money if I sponsor you.
exactly. If I sponsored everyone that came knocking on the door.
Oh my gosh.
No, but I just enjoy those people. I actually enjoy the nitty-gritty of the details of their bookkeeping and understanding it a little bit more in depth than what the basic bookkeeping client is.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, Jennifer, it's time for our quick fire round. We'll ask you some quick questions and you tell us the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay. What is the book that you've most given as a gift or the book that made the biggest difference for you?
I have two that have probably I've been, especially here recently. So the first one is Networking Essentials for Success by Chris Borja. He is actually a local, he's in Dublin, but he does the connected networking groups. And I've recommended that, especially in my industry, because bookkeepers are behind the scenes. We're mainly introverts. So it helps the introvert person kind of come out of their shell at the networking events. And then the other one is Profit First.
Oh, of course, that would be good for you.
Of course, it deals with numbers.
Yes, I've read that one.
Writing that down.
What purchase of $100 or less has most positively impacted your life?
Can I say my planner?
Yes, you totally can.
I
What kind
really
of
thought.
planner do you have? What is the brand?
Oh, that is a good question. Actually, I have a new one over here because it's only 6 months.
Oh,
So it is the Legend Planner Pro, but it's really a goal planner as well. That's why it's only 6 months of a planner. But and I don't use all the capabilities of it, but I really like being able to at a glance see what my goals are, see the things I want to go, see the places I want to go, things I want to learn, right? So it just keeps that in the forefront of my mind. So that is huge for me. And I analyze my goals. Did I achieve my goals? Do I need to change them? Did I set them too high? Did I set them too low? So yeah, I'm all about trying to achieve those personal goals for myself.
I like it. What is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
I'm not a coffee drinker, and I have to have my Pepsi every morning.
It's okay.
I have to have. I have to have. Now I do the zero sugar Pepsi now, but I have to have a Pepsi every morning. I feel like even if I just take a sip, just when I sit down at my desk, I feel like I'm ready to go. So
Fizz in your mouth.
it does. It does.
sweet burn.
That sweet burn on the throat.
I am a little addicted to Diet Coke myself.
Okay,
but
then I don't feel
coffee in the morning, Diet Coke in the afternoon, and wine at night. No.
Well, I'll tell you what I have at night later.
Okay.
Hey, we're Cosmo. Oh, that's coming up.
Yeah.
So, Jen, what is your current passion project?
So when I started doing the bookkeeping business, I actually went through a bookkeeping academy to help me understand all the ins and outs. Once I did all the self-taught, but also there's mentors in the group that were able to answer some questions when I got in a tough situation. So now I am mentoring new people that are coming into that program. And I love it. I do about 10 hours a week because I have all the time in the world. But I do enjoy it, and it is like my way of giving back. So
That's awesome.
For only doing this for a short period of time, you're like kicking butt.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
What is one skill you would like to master?
The skill of having a work-life balance or a life-work balance.
Life first.
Life
Life work
first.
balance.
I
Yes.
don't currently have that, as busy as we are, but I'm working on it, and I know that it needs to change. So that's part of the problem, right? That's the first step, is identifying. But really, if I could do anything and I could master the skill, I would master living my life more and working less.
What was your first job?
I worked at Alliance Data. Well, actually, it was Limited Credit Services back then. And I was 15 and a half, right when you're legally able to get a job. And I set up new accounts for credit card accounts. And I worked there off and on for many years.
Okay.
Nice.
You have a song that you can turn to pump you up, like to get you going? What's your current pump up song?
Justin Timberlake. And since he was just in town, I really had to pick him since he was just in town. Probably Can't Stop the Feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's a good one.
It is a good
I even
one.
have a little dance I do to that one. Can't stop.
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone does.
Since we are called Cosmos and Commerce, what is your drink of choice?
A really good, well-made tequila sunrise.
Oh.
They do have tequila sunsets, and those are good
really?
as well, but the sunrise is my preferred.
What's
the difference?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
I had a really bad experience with tequila sunrise one day. Or one evening.
Too many?
Oh.
Way too many. I'm surprised I didn't get alcohol poisoning, I swear.
Oh.
It's a wonder I didn't die. And I don't think I've had one since.
That's usually how it goes, is you have one bad experience and you never drink that one again.
Yeah, and that was like 1982.
Jeez.
I just went to Athens over last weekend, and the bartender was making a drink, and it looked really good. I was like, what is that? He said it was a tequila sunrise, so I might have to try one sometime. They look delicious.
Orange juice, grenadine, tequila.
Yeah, that's really it.
I think that's pretty much it. You just got to get the ratios just right.
100%. You got to have someone that knows what they're doing, because really you shouldn't be tasting the tequila. If it's made right, you're not going to taste the tequila. Unless you want to. Then you make it a double.
So, Jen, would you rather handle the books for a busy Michelin star restaurant or a high energy nightclub?
Oh, I would pick the restaurant. Nightclub, there could be some shady stuff sometimes at some nightclubs, right? Every time you watch a crime novel, there's shady stuff at a nightclub.
Money laundering going on.
Yeah.
Right. I've watched too much Law and Order to want to do a nightclub.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
I had to stop watching those because those are taken right out of actual headlines, I believe.
Yes.
I'd stop watching that. It just scared me too much.
Too real.
Too real. 100%.
Too real. Jennifer, where can our listeners find you?
At waysidebookkeepingservices.com, or our email is waysidebookkeeping@gmail.com.
Do you have a physical location?
We do not. We are all remote virtual bookkeepers.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being on our show, Jen. It was a pleasure listening to your inspiring story.
Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed every minute. You guys are a lot of fun. So maybe next time in the future, we'll really get together for some Cosmos.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. Or tequila sunrises.
Oh, yes. Sure. You didn't tell me your guys' drink of choice.
Oh.
Do you know, I like a Cosmo. Well, actually, that's what I was drinking Were you drinking one too,
Yeah,
Michelle?
when we came up with the
We
name.
were drinking Cosmos when we came up with the name, Cosmos and Commerce.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it has a double meaning. So that's
Yeah.
That's
weird.
awesome. That's what's awesome about it, right?
Yeah. Listeners, don't forget to subscribe and check out our past episodes on cosmosandcommerce.com.
Have a great day.
Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.